What's happening, people? Welcome back to the channel. Today, as you'll have seen in the thumbnail, I'm going to be going over how I like to wrap my pen style tattoo machine so that it's nice and hygienic for tattooing. That being said, let's get into the video. Okay people, a few things to go over before we get into wrapping the machine. First of all, I've made sure my work surface is nice and clean and disinfected. I've got a layer of cling film over it, and then I've also got this dental bib. That's optional, but it just makes any spillages a little bit easier to clean up. Now, today I'm only going to be practicing on a piece of fake skin, but what I like to do is use the same method for wrapping my machine every time, because it'll really help to ingrain good habits into the way you work. So although there's not actually going to be any bodily fluids while I'm tattooing today, I still treat the process as if there will be. So first things first, whenever I'm wrapping my machine, I'll get my machine and the battery and I'll put them together. So basically that's your tattoo machine there. You've got the machine and the battery, and then the needle goes in this end. So the next thing I like to do is you can either use what they call a machine bag cover, or all I use is these clip cord covers, but I actually just cut it in half so I get more uses out of them. They're basically going to do the exact same job, it's just whatever you happen to have at your disposal. So the first thing I'm going to do is, it can be a little bit fiddly, but I'm going to insert the machine inside the bag. Once that's in, I'm going to make sure I have a little bit of overlap at either end so that I can fold it over when I need to. And I've got this, which is just it's just medical bandage, but it's like sticky on one side. You can also use it as grip tape. And I'm going to fold over the side, keeping it nice and tight there over the end where the needle goes in. And I'm just going to put a little layer of bandage around that just to hold it in place for now. But we are going to add more bandage later on. So once that's there and that's secure, I'm going to pull it tight. Not too tight, because you still want to be able to change the depth of your needle by twisting that. But I'm going to just make sure it's not too saggy, so I can still use the button on the end. I'm going to pull that over, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other end. And I'm going to put a layer of this grip tape around just to keep that in place. If you have any sort of like medical grade sticky tape, you could use that at this point as well. I'm just using this, like I say, because it's what I've got at my disposal. So essentially that's the machine wrap now, but there's a few more things you might want to think about doing. One thing I like to do is, when you're tattooing, there's obviously a lot of vibrations coming through this machine. It can actually be a bit taxing on the hand and the wrist once you're using it for any length of time. So I actually like add some padding around here just to make it a little bit more comfortable to use. Now, you can actually get disposable grips for most machines that you just use once and throw away. But obviously if you're tattooing quite a bit, that can get costly, and it's also quite a bit of a waste, if you know what I mean. So all I like to do is I get a couple of pieces of kitchen towel. I keep them attached rather than separate, and I'll just fold them up lengthways into about, I don't know, like an inch thickness. And I'll just fold that over like that all the way up. And then what I do with this, again, my machine, the end of my machine that the needle goes into, I'll wrap this around there to create sort of like a padded grip. Obviously, if you want it thicker or thinner, you could use one sheet of kitchen towel, or if you wanted it a bit fatter, you could obviously double up on this, which I sometimes do like to do if I'm lining, because I quite like a fat grip when I'm lining. So once I've got that round there, I'll just get me grip tape again, and then I'm going to wrap a few more layers around there just to hold it into place and to keep it nice and sort of firm, because you don't want it obviously flopping around while you're tattooing. Now what some people do, they will just put layers and layers of grip tape around the end of the tattoo machine, which is fine, but obviously kitchen towel is a lot more inexpensive and easy to get hold of than grip tape. So this is just a way of saving your grip tape. So you'll see now I've got a much fatter grip to hold on to, and it's going to be a lot more comfortable when I come to tattooing. Now, the last thing you're going to notice is this end is still covered. So how I like to get around that is, I will get the needle that I'm going to be tattooing with. This is just a 7-round liner. I'll open that, and you can actually use this end of the tattoo needle where the needle isn't yet exposed, and you can just use that to poke a hole in the end of the wrap that you've just put round, and then that'll allow you to put your needle through and twist it into place. So now that's our tattoo machine all wrapped and ready to go. Now, a couple of things to think about. Obviously, at the end of your tattooing, this is all going to be covered in blood and sort of stuff you don't want to get in contact with your skin. So it's important to always make sure you're wearing gloves when you tear down the machine. And what I like to do is I'll have one clean hand and one dirty hand. So I'll try to use one hand to remove all the wrap and keep my other hand clean so I can handle the machine once I take it out of the wrap. Because in theory, once you unwrap this machine, as long as you don't touch it, it should still be clean, because this wrap has prevented any bodily fluids coming in contact with it. That being said, of course, you still want to disinfect it with medical grade disinfectant once you're finishing tattooing, because to be on the safe side, just in case anything has got in contact with it, the last thing you want to be doing is spreading around germs. So yeah, that's how I like to wrap my tattoo machine, guys. If there's anything else you want to know, make sure you let us know in the comments down below, and I'll add it into the next video. Also, I just wanted to mention, I've just hit 500 subscribers, which I'm absolutely over the moon about. So if you would consider liking this video, commenting and subscribing, it would mean the absolute world to us. That being said, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.